This is Darnley Cyber Cafe, where I talk about cybersecurity the way people actually experience it, quietly, personally, and sometimes very uncomfortable. So grab your coffee, maybe a tea today. This one isn't about shock value, and it's definitely not about shaming anyone. Today, I'm talking about a story that made a lot of people pause, feel uneasy, and probably ask a very human question. Wait, so what does this mean? Because this week, news broke that PornHub premium user activity data has been exposed not through PornHub itself, but through a third-party analytics provider called Mixpanel. And it's being used for extortion by a hacking group known as Shiny Hunters. And before I go any further and into this, let me be clear. This episode is not about judging what people watch. It's not about morality. It's about privacy, power, and what happens when intimate data in all forms escapes into the wrong hands and now available across the World Wide Web. Here's the short version. No technical fluff. PornHub used a third-party analytics service called Mixpanel many years ago. They stopped using it around 2021, but the old data lived on. That data included email addresses, timestamps, location or IP-based data, video titles, search terms, watch and download activity. So what was not included in this data were passwords, payment details, and IDs. But something arguably more sensitive, your behavior. That data, potentially hundreds of millions of records, are now being claimed by Shiny Hunters, a group with a long track record of turning stolen data into leverage. And leverage is the key word here. So let's discuss why this kind of data is different. If your credit card gets leaked, you can just cancel it. And if your password gets breached, you can just reset it. But you cannot reset your past behavior. Your search history, viewing habits, timestamps, and those patterns. That's not just data, that's context. And as I always say, everything we do online is written in digital stone, which means it never goes away. And context is what makes extortion work, especially in these regards. Now, understand this is kind of information that can be used to blackmail individuals, threaten careers, damage reputations, target politicians, executives, and public figures, and fuel long-term psychological stress. And I've seen this many times before. The adult friend finder breach in 2016 didn't just cause embarrassment of people, it led to divorces, job losses, suicides, and political scandals. And experts are warning this could be worse because extortion has evolved. Here's something new that didn't exist in earlier breaches: AI. Large language models can now analyze massive, generate personalized messages, craft believable threats, and automate targeting at scale. One expert warned that attackers could generate millions of personalized extortion emails, focus on one high-value target, even poison AI systems with leaked data so names can surface in chatbot answers. Now, once that happens, you just can't simply delete it. You chase it for months, sometimes years, and the damage has already been done. So understand, this didn't happen because users were careless. This didn't happen because someone clicked the wrong link or used the same password. It happened because data was retained longer than needed, third-party vendors were involved, legacy systems weren't fully cleaned up, and attackers targeted the weakest link, obviously. But here's the real uncomfortable truth. The consequences land on the user anyway. Cybercrime doesn't care who's at fault, it cares who is vulnerable. So if you are affected or worried you might be, here's what actually matters. Be alert for phishing or extortion emails. Do not respond to threats. Enable multi-factor authentication everywhere. Lock down email security. Check the website Have I Been Pwned? PWNED. Assume old data never truly disappears. And emotionally, if this does hit close to home, understand you're not alone in the world. Because fear thrives in silence. Awareness takes its power away. And cybercriminals know this, and they have the golden ticket now. Understand this story isn't really about one website, especially with a website such as PornHub. It's about third-party data risk, long-term data retention, supply chain breaches, and the emotional cost of leaked personal data. And the reality that cybersecurity failures do not stay technical, they deeply become personal. Now, if there's one takeaway from today's episode, it's this. Privacy is not about shame, it's about control. And once control is gone, someone else gets to decide how your story is told. So, as I keep saying, you need to protect all of your accounts. Question where your data goes. And remember, what feels private today can become leverage tomorrow. Decide if that is where you want your data and identity to be associated with. If not, then you really need to reconsider what you do online moving forward. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today at the cafe. If this episode helped you understand something you hadn't thought of before, consider sharing it, because awareness protects more than any software ever could. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and stay cyber aware.